Lila Morgan told the truth at 8:43 on the morning Jonathan pleaded guilty. She did not tell it inside a private office. She did not whisper it to a lawyer and ask for protection. She told it under oath, in a courtroom filled with patients, workers, reporters, federal agents, and people whose lives had been rearranged by decisions made behind closed doors. I sat beside Cameron in the public gallery. My mother watched through a secured video feed from our living room in South Deering. Dad sat 3 rows ahead with Samuel Ortega and the Temporary Worker Council. Jonathan stood at the defense table wearing a dark suit without a tie. The electronic monitor remained beneath his trouser leg. He did not look toward me when Lila entered. He looked at her. For 13 years, she had controlled the doors around him. His calendar. His visitors. The files reaching his desk. The questions stopped before they became inconvenient. The emergencies allowed to interrupt. She had protected his attention until protection became another word for governing what he knew. Lila placed one hand on the witness Bible, then changed her mind. I affirm, she said. The clerk accepted it. No ritual replacing understanding. Dana Brooks approached the lectern. Ms. Morgan, did Jonathan Cross give you a letter approximately 10 years ago? Yes. Was that letter recovered from an off-network archive under your control? Yes. Did the letter instruct you not to assist Mr. Cross if he later requested memory suppression? Yes. Jonathan remained still. Dana placed the letter on the courtroom screen. At the bottom, in Jonathan's handwriting, Lila, if I ask for suppression, do not obey me. Dana turned toward her. Did you read that instruction before Mr. Cross underwent the second suppression procedure? Lila's answer came softly. Yes. The room changed. Not loudly. No gasps. Only a shift in the way people breathed. What did you do? Dana asked. Nothing. Nothing. I did not warn federal authorities. I did not contact independent counsel. I did not prevent the clinic appointment. Did you speak to Mr. Cross? Yes. When? The evening before the procedure. What did he say? Lila looked toward Jonathan. He did not rescue her. He asked whether he had left instructions. Dana waited. What did you tell him? I said no. The truth arrived without decoration. She lied. Not by omission. Directly. Jonathan had created a safeguard against his future fear. He trusted Lila to hold a boundary when he could not. She removed it. Why? Dana asked. Lila's face remained controlled. The control cost her now. Marcus brought me to Calder East. When? The same afternoon. Did you know the facility was called Calder? No. Not then. What did you see? Jonathan's mother. Eleanor. Alive beneath a hospital while her son believed she had died. Who else? 11 patients receiving assisted treatment. What did Marcus tell you? That Jonathan's recovered memories had made him unstable. That he intended to expose a classified medical program. That immediate exposure would terminate funding and life support. Did you verify his claim? No, why not? He showed me patient monitors. Did you speak to doctors independent of Marcus Vale? No. Did you contact Jonathan's father? I believed Michael Cross was dead. Did you contact police? No. Federal authorities? No. Why? Lila's eyes moved toward the public gallery, toward the Calder patients. I believe the company was the only structure keeping those people alive. Naomi sat behind Dana. Her face did not change. Lila continued. I thought if Jonathan remembered everything, he would act publicly. Markets would react. Funding would freeze. Marcus would move the patients or let them die. So you chose company stability. Yes. Did you also fear losing your position? Yes. Did you fear Mr. Cross would blame you if you stopped the procedure? Yes. Did you believe memory suppression would make him easier to manage? The question cut deeper. Lila looked toward Jonathan. Yes. His face tightened. Only slightly. Dana asked. Did you care about him? Yes. Romantically? No, the answer came quickly. I loved him as someone I had built my life around protecting. She looked down at her hands. That was the problem. The courtroom remained silent. I thought care gave me authority to choose which version of him survived. My mother's words returned. Do not let his pain become your job. Lila had made Jonathan's mind her responsibility, then selected the version that preserved the system around both of them. What happened the morning of the procedure? Dana asked. Jonathan arrived at the clinic. Condition? Exhausted. Agitated. Uncertain. Did he ask again about the letter? Yes. What did he say? Lila closed her eyes for 1 second. He asked, Did I tell you not to let me do this? The words entered the room. Jonathan looked toward the table. What did you answer? Dana asked. I said, you told me to trust your decision. Was that true? No. Did Mr. Cross sign the treatment form afterward? Yes. Voluntarily. Lila hesitated. Dana repeated. Did anyone physically force him? No. Did anyone threaten him in that room? No. Did he understand that the procedure could suppress recovered memories? Yes. Then he chose it. Yes. Lila looked at him. But I made the choice easier by removing the warning he left for himself. Jonathan finally raised his eyes. Their gaze held. No forgiveness. No anger visible enough for cameras. Only recognition of a betrayal carried between them for 10 years. Dana asked, why preserve the letter? I could not destroy it. Why hide it? Because every year I kept silent made disclosure more dangerous. Dangerous to whom? Lila answered, to me. There it was. Not the company. Not Jonathan. Not patience. Her. Fear had worn the language of protection until the final layer came away. Did you later preserve access logs relating to Calder? Dana asked. Yes. Why? I wanted someone to find the truth if I failed to say it. Did preservation replace disclosure? No, did you know that? Yes. Then why continue? Lila looked toward the victim panels displayed outside the courtroom. Because evidence does not ask whether you are brave. The line settled. Files could survive without courage. People could not. Dana returned to the central issue. Did Jonathan Cross know the full scope of Calder before the second suppression? No, what did he know? He knew South Shore workers had been monitored. He knew unauthorized medical treatment may have occurred. He knew his mother was alive. He knew a child named Evelyn had been used in a memory test. My name entered the record again. Did he know other patients remained at risk? Yes. Did he choose suppression rather than exposure? Yes. Did you make that decision for him? No, the answer mattered. Lila had lied. Marcus had coerced. Elias Voss had manipulated medical information. Eleanor had asked him to stop. But Jonathan still signed. Responsibility did not disappear because other people built the room. Dana stepped back. Jonathan's attorney rose for cross-examination. Rebecca Shaw approached Lila slowly. Ms. Morgan, did Marcus Vale threaten Eleanor Cross's care? Yes. Did he threaten the 11 patients? Yes. Did you believe those threats? Yes. Did you believe disclosure might kill them? Yes. Did Mr. Cross know the treatment was designed by the same people he suspected? He knew Elias Voss worked with Marcus. Did he trust Dr. Voss? No, then why proceed? Lila looked toward Jonathan. He wanted relief. Not innocence. Relief. Rebecca asked, did Jonathan tell you he wanted to forget the child? No. Did he tell you he wanted Calder to continue? No. Did he receive money for undergoing suppression? No. Did the procedure increase his personal wealth immediately? No. Did he believe company stability protected employees and patients? Yes. Then is it fair to say his decision was shaped by fear for other people? Dana objected. Judge Warren looked toward Lila. You may answer if you understand the question. Lila did. Yes. Rebecca nodded. And fear for himself? Yes. Can you separate them? No, neither could I. Human motives rarely arrived alone. Self-preservation could hide inside duty. Love could hide inside control. Guilt could pretend to be responsibility. The judge asked her own question. Ms. Morgan, if you had told Mr. Cross the truth about his letter, what do you believe he would have done? Lila's face broke for the first time. I do not know. That is the honest answer? Yes. Then why did you believe you had the right to decide? I did. Not believe I had the right. Her voice shook. I believed someone had to decide. Judge Warren leaned slightly forward. Those are often the same sentence used by people who take power without consent. Lila lowered her eyes. Yes. She stepped down at 9:31. Federal agents did not arrest her inside the courtroom. Her cooperation agreement had already been filed. She would plead guilty to obstruction, evidence concealment, and false statements. Her sentence would come later. She walked past Jonathan's table. He said one word. Lila. She stopped. The judge had not prohibited contact between them in open court. Lila turned. I am sorry, she said. Jonathan looked at her. I know. Not I forgive you. Not it was not your fault. Only acknowledgement that the words had arrived. Then she walked away. At 9:40, Judge Warren called Jonathan's case. He stood. The clerk read the amended charges. obstruction of federal oversight, false certification, reckless facilitation of unlawful human subject research. Conspiracy allegations remained contested and would not enter the plea. His cooperation agreement required complete testimony against Marcus, Catherine, Elias Voss, Peter Wexler, Martin Keller, and others. No immunity for undisclosed conduct. No guaranteed sentence. Judge Warren looked at him. Mr. Cross, how do you plead? Guilty. The word traveled through the courtroom. Jonathan did not look toward me. Judge Warren began the factual inquiry. You understand that a guilty plea waives your right to trial on these charges? Yes. You understand the court is not bound by sentencing recommendations? Yes. Has anyone promised you a particular outcome? No. Has anyone threatened you into pleading guilty? No. Are you pleading guilty voluntarily? Yes. The word had been abused throughout Calder. That morning, the judge forced it to carry meaning. Explain in your own words what you did. Jonathan placed both hands on the table. I signed regulatory and medical certifications without reviewing underlying warnings that reached my office. Why? I delegated responsibility to people whose answers preserved my authority. Continue. I became aware that South Shore workers, including Daniel Hart, may have been subjected to unauthorized monitoring and medical treatment. When, partially, 10 years ago, what did you do? I investigated privately. What did you learn? That my mother was alive in a hidden treatment facility. That patients depended on a system connected to Marcusville. That Evelyn Hart had been used as a child control. Prohibition from executive authority in medical, insurance, surveillance, and public benefit systems. The ban was not temporary. He would never again control a hospital network, a behavioral data system, understand everything. When financial advisors used language no one else understood, he stopped them. Say it like the people losing the money are in the room. They were. He voted against selling the renewable energy division, for selling the luxury hotel portfolio, for preserving hospital payroll, against a proposal that would have converted patient restitution into company stock. You do not pay harmed people with another risk they cannot control, he said. The motion failed. Workers received wages. Patients received care funds. South Deering received the former South Shore fabrication parcel. The neighborhood voted to build 3 things there: a public clinic, a worker training center, a memorial garden. No luxury development. No hidden basement. The old residential manifold beneath our garage was removed entirely. Federal engineers excavated the chamber. Dad watched the pipes come out of the ground. He did not keep any part of them. Some objects did not need to become family relics. Ryan's old conviction was reviewed. The sealed utility maps proved he had reported an undocumented line years earlier. Martin Keller's contractor used Ryan's protest record to redirect suspicion after equipment was damaged. The prosecutor moved to vacate the conviction. The judge granted it. Ryan left after surgery. She walked to St. Bridget's without stopping. For months after surgery, she returned to work for 2 mornings a week. Not because anyone pressured her. Because she missed Mrs. Donnelly. She accepted help lifting. Took breaks. Allowed herself to leave before exhaustion became proof of devotion. My mother learned to receive care without calling it weakness. My father learned to ask before giving it. Michael Cross testified for 22 hours across 6 days. He admitted building the relay architecture. Admitted hiding Eleanor. Admitted using Daniel's control sample. Admitted creating the worker trust and then allowing Marcus to convince everyone it had failed. He did not ask Jonathan to forgive him. They spoke twice under supervised therapeutic conditions. I did not know the details. They belonged to them. Eleanor recovered enough to recognize both children consistently. Her neurological damage remained. Some days, she remembered Victoria's seizures. Some days, she believed Jonathan was still 34. She apologized repeatedly for asking him to stop investigating. Jonathan told her the decision was his. The clinicians recorded the conversation because both requested it. No family truth disappearing again. Samuel moved into a small apartment near Gabriel. They did not become a perfect uncle and nephew through one embrace. Gabriel remained angry. Samuel remained confused by ordinary life. They built familiarity slowly. Grocery stores, bus routes, birthdays, silence that did not hide a facility. Lila cooperated until the last Calder server was located. At her sentencing, she received 18 months in federal custody followed by supervised release. The judge considered her evidence preservation, her testimony, her direct lie, the decade of concealment. Jonathan submitted no letter asking for mercy. Lila requested none. She told the court, "I made myself necessary to a powerful man so I would not have to ask who I was without his doors." The sentence stayed with me. I had nearly made myself necessary to Jonathan in a different way, not as assistant, as conscience. Both forms could become cages. My work with the independent review expanded. We created an institute called Open Ledger. No cross name, no heart name. A governance board divided among patients, workers, data specialists, and community members. My role was director of model accountability, not chief executive, not permanent. 3-year term, published salary, public conflict disclosures. Our first major report examined the 82% relocation model. We showed how fixed acceptance assumptions disguised coercion, how property acquisition predicted surrender instead of measuring consent, how the same logic appeared in hospitals, employment systems, and school discipline. The number became known publicly. 82. Not as a mysterious code, as a warning. When a model described human refusal as an error, someone needed to ask who benefited from making people predictable. I spoke at universities, community centers, regulatory hearings, never cross-meridian events. The company eventually changed its name, not because a new brand erased history, because workers and patients refused to continue carrying a family identity. The new name was Meridian Commons. Mrs. Delgado hated it. It sounds like apartments with bad parking. The council kept it anyway. Democracy included losing votes. Cross-Meridian Tower was transferred into the Worker-Patient Trust. The top executive floors became public records offices, training rooms, and temporary housing for families traveling for specialized medical care. The penthouse became a rehabilitation center. The company, names no longer hidden beneath one man's. For months after his plea, Jonathan returned to federal court for sentencing. I attended, not because he asked. He had not contacted me, not once. My boundary remained. His attorneys said, then forgot. The courtroom listened. I signed a lie because I was afraid. He signed adaptations concerning Calder. He could not sell his confession. The court ordered him to surrender immediately. Jonathan nodded. No collapse. No gratitude. Acceptance. Federal officers approached. Before they took him, Judge Warren said, "Mr. Cross." He looked up. "You spent much of your life believing responsibility meant control." "Yes. In custody, you will control very little." The room remained still. "What you do with that limitation will not change this sentence." "No, it will change you." Jonathan looked toward me for the first time that day. Only once. Then he turned to the officers. The handcuffs closed. He left through the public door. I did not follow. 4 years sounded short compared with 15 stolen from Samuel. Long compared with 11 days of knowing someone. Time did not balance harm cleanly. It only, remember you. Tell me I promised to open the door. I placed it in a drawer. Not on display. Not destroyed. History did not need to sit on the kitchen wall to remain true. I have limited patience for unfinished conversations. I contacted Cameron first. He was now director of a regional housing rights network. He had dated other people. So had I. Nothing serious. Not because Jonathan occupied every possibility. Because life did not owe me a replacement romance on schedule. Cameron read my draft message. "You do not need a lawyer to invite someone to dinner." Eleanor survived him. She lived in a neurological care residence governed by the patient trust. Victoria visited weekly. Their sibling relationship remained careful. Not repaired completely. Alive. "Did you forgive him?" I asked. "My father." "Yes." Jonathan looked toward the table. "Sometimes. That is not how forgiveness works. It may be for me." He lifted his eyes. "I forgave specific things. Not all of them." That made sense. Sympathy. "Did you write letters?" "Yes." What stood near the restaurant entrance. "Thank you," he said. "For dinner." "For asking." "This does not mean, I know." He did not finish my sentence. "Good." I looked toward him. For years earlier, he had been the center of an empire. Now he stood beneath a broken restaurant sign with a paper transit card in his coat pocket. Power had not made him human. Losing it had not made him good. Choices did. Repeatedly. Without guarantee. "I do not forgive everything," I said. "I understand. I may never." "Yes. I believe you changed." His breath stopped slightly. I continued. "I also believe change does not return what was taken." No, I do not want to be your conscience. You are not. I do not want to be your reward after prison. You are not. I do not want a relationship built around saving you. Neither do I. What do you want? He looked at me, not around the answer. At it. To know you slowly. The sentence entered without pressure. As who? I asked. Evelyn Hart. Not the child from Calder? No, not the analyst who exposed your company. No, not the woman who made you change. His expression became serious. You did not make me change. The answer surprised me. You made the consequences visible, he continued. I chose whether to change. That was the answer I needed. Not gratitude as ownership. Not redemption through romance. Responsibility. And me? He asked. What about you? Who would you know? I looked at him. Jonathan. No title. No past. The past comes. Yes. But it does not enter the room first. His eyes softened. A city bus moved through the intersection. The door opened. People entered. People left. Ordinary movement. May I ask another dinner someday? He said. You may ask. Will you say yes? You may ask. One corner of his mouth lifted. Still difficult. Still alive. He nodded. Yes. I should have left then. The evening had done what it needed. No dramatic promise. No final surrender. But I remembered the note. If I do not remember you, tell me I promised to open the door. At 34, Jonathan tried to open a metal door for a child. At 49, he learned that opening doors for people did not mean choosing where they went. At 53, he stood outside and waited for me to decide. I stepped closer. Not enough to touch. Enough to make the question mine. Jonathan. Yes. May I hold your hand? His eyes changed. Yes. I reached for his left hand, the one that had signed away Calder. Caught the founder key. Rested open on a hospital blanket without asking me to fill it. His fingers closed carefully around mine. No cameras. No federal witness. No controlled environment. No reason except choice. The contact felt quieter than I expected. Not destiny. Not rescue. Present time. We stood that way for several seconds. Then I released him. Good night, I said. Good night, Evelyn. I drove home. He took the bus. 3 weeks later, he asked for dinner again. I said yes. 2 months later, we visited the South Shore Memorial Garden with my family. Dad remained cautious. Ryan remained hostile in creative ways. Hannah asked Jonathan direct questions about therapy. Lily showed him the library cage in her book. Mom watched everything. She approved of nothing publicly. Privately, she stopped placing newspapers on the table. Jonathan and I moved slowly. No gifts beyond books. No financial help. No hidden protection. No decisions about my work. When he wanted to pay for Mom's follow-up care, I said no. The patient trust already covered the harm. He accepted it. When I wanted to explain his motives to an angry resident, he stopped me. They are allowed to remain angry. He accepted that too. 6 months after our first dinner, he asked whether he could kiss me. We stood on my parents' porch. The same house once marked for clearance. The same garage where the manifold had been removed. The same doorway carrying our height marks. He asked. I answered yes. The kiss was gentle, brief. No claim. No debt. When it ended, he rested his forehead near mine, but did not hold me in place. I waited a long time, he said. You chose most of that waiting. Yes. The honesty remained. We did not call it forever. We called it a relationship. 2 adults. Unequal histories. Separate finances. Separate homes. Therapy. Boundaries. Dinner on Fridays when court supervision allowed. Love, when it eventually came, did not erase the caution. It grew inside it. A year after Jonathan's release, Meridian Commons opened the South Shore Clinic. My mother cut the ribbon. Not Jonathan. Not me. Margaret Hart. The woman whose scan had been denied. The first floor provided renal imaging, neurological care, and patient advocacy. No research without separate consent. No basement. Every records room had a public access policy posted beside the door. The memorial garden stood where the old factory's east line once ran. 13 stones carried the worker trustees' names. Another wall carried Calder patient names with permission. Blank spaces remained for people who chose privacy. The largest stone carried no person's name. Only a sentence. No system may call silence consent. Lily placed a purple bird beneath it. Jonathan stood at the edge of the crowd. Not on the platform. Not hidden. Present. When the ceremony ended, he approached my mother. Mrs. Hart. Jonathan. She looked toward the clinic. You did not raise your hand. He understood the old lesson. No, you raised the standard. He smiled faintly. I had help. Mom shook her head. Do not turn accountability into modesty. Say what you did. He looked toward the clinic. I surrendered control. And I testified. And I returned what was not mine. And I stayed. My mother nodded. Better. Then she walked inside the clinic built above, no hidden rooms. Jonathan turned toward me. The city skyline rose far north. The tower remained there. No longer Cross Meridian Tower. No longer his. Its top floors belonged to families receiving care. Its lobby held open elevator doors leading nowhere. He had ruled the city from above. I had entered by mistake. Or by design. Or through two intentions fighting over the same machine. Years later, the distinction mattered less than it once had. The elevator did not decide our lives. Catherine did not. Marcus did not. Michael did not. The childhood room did not. The company did not. Even love did not decide for us. We did. Again and again. With information. With boundaries. With doors that opened from both sides. Jonathan held out his hand. Not an order. Not a rescue. An invitation. I took it. He had once ruled the city. I had once ruled his silence. In the end, neither of us needed a throne. We needed the truth, the courage to remain after it arrived, and a door no one had to enter alone.